Alright guys, so this is my 2008 Honda CRF150F. So it's like the trail version. They have the CRF150R and then the F. The F is a little bit more comfortable, has the different style front forks. So as you can see, the boots have I bought it like this, but the boots are gone and these fork seals are leaking. So we're going to show you how to replace the fork seals on this. It's a little bit different than the CRF150R that I used to have. It has the different style front fork. So we're going to show you how to do this. I already had this off, but I wanted to document this so these are not tight. But the first thing that you want to do is loosen all four of these nuts here. I had never seen this before, so I thought it'd be good to document it. Because I tried to loosen this. The CRF150R doesn't have this piece. It just has a bolt that you loosen and a nut on the other side. Whereas this one doesn't. It looks like it's a bolt, but it's actually not. But anyways, you pull this off, then you can loosen this 17 millimeter. Grab my wrench. And it will be able to loosen it. But otherwise, if you don't have that loose, this will not budge, this bolt. So once you have that off, completely loosened, this will slide out, and then you can remove the brake caliper, and this whole wheel will slide off. Now, I already have these loose, but there are two 12 millimeters here and two at the top. And once you take those out, this whole fork will just slide off. Just grab it where it's not. In this case, this is all oily, so if you grab it up here and twist and pull down, just slide right out. Same thing on the other side. Alright, so what we're going to do here is, first I'm going to take off this remains from the dust boot, slide it off. It's been on there for a minute. Then I'm going to take a flat blade screwdriver, just tap on this dust seal where it joins in. It'll bust loose like that. It'll slide right off. Now, what we're going to do next is, I already broke this loose, but I took a pair of channel locks and just grabbed it here gingerly and broke this loose with a 17 millimeter. cap will come off. And then you'll want to drain this out in a bucket. Say to just pump it a few times and that'll get all the fluid out. So the next thing you want to do is on the other side, the bottom, there's a bolt there. It's like a T6 bolt. Pop that loose. Have to get a pair of channel locks. Now you have access to your main seal. So to get this out, basically just, I don't have to worry about damaging it obviously since we're going to be replacing it, but
just work it around like this. Eventually it'll pop out. There it goes.
So now you've got a washer, bushing, and that's it. So the disassembly part is pretty simple. Alright, so this part is very important. I replaced the seals on my CRF150F and it was totally different. So basically you want to clean this out as best you can, and don't install anything on this just yet. So just set it in place, and when you initially took off, when you separated these two, more than likely these two, the bushing and this washer, came out. So just set those aside. Inspect this bushing and clean it on the one that's attached here. Clean that off. So what you want to do is slide this down, and you'll feel it when that bushing hits. It will kind of self-center, and then it will slide down real smooth, just like that. Now, you want to put the bushing in next. So you'll slide this bushing. It will again kind of self-center, but don't worry about that. You'll slide this washer over, and then you can get whatever type of driving tool you have. I just happened to find this piece of pipe that is exactly the right size. So I'm gonna slide this over. And then just tap it until you can feel it and hear it bottom out. That is how you know that that bushing is where it needs to be. So now if you'll notice, that's pretty far down in there. The dust seal, or the actual physical seal on this will now go on. That way there's no question as to if this seal is going to get damaged. You just slide it directly over and tap it down until it is centered with where that snap ring goes in. So take a little bit of oil, put it on your seal. Make sure this is pretty clean. Slide it over, slide it down, push it as far as you can by hand. So if you're lucky enough to find a piece of pipe that will work, that's just slightly larger than this shock, I happened to luck out on that myself. So I've put this seal in just snugly, and what I did was just wrapped a shop rag around here to protect that seal. Slid this over and then just give it a few taps until it goes past where that clip goes in.
Bottom out, I'm not sure, but I'm just going a little bit until I can get that clip on. And that should do it.
Hopefully you can see this, but it's just far enough to where that little lip is exposed, and then you'll just take this little clip, push it down in there with a flat blade screwdriver, and you should hear that clip pop into place like that. And that's it. So next I'll show you how I put this dust ring in place. So these are pretty easy to install. There's not as much force needed for sure. So I tried to use the same technique with the pipe, but it wasn't quite working because this one is significantly thicker than the other seal. So what I ended up doing is kind of just protecting the outside of this shaft and just tapping it in, working it around like this. And that keeps the metal from getting dinged up or anything. Sometimes you might have to put some pressure on the other side while you're tapping it. That seemed to help. That's it. So it's fully seated all the way around. So we'll just fill this up and put our new boots on. We'll be good to go. All right, so we're ready to fill this. There's more accurate methods to doing this, but I used this method on my CRF150R and it was totally fine, never had any problems. They sell a specific tool that's just used for this, but I'm kind of a cheapskate, so I'm just using 15 weight fork oil. I got this on Amazon for like 12 bucks or something like that. So everyone says you're supposed to have these all the way down with no spring when you put the oil in. So for a CRF150F, it calls for 10 ounces per fork. So I'll measure this out. 10 ounces.
Fill it up.
then what they recommend doing is cycling this cylinder in and out a few times to ensure that you get all of the bubbles and stuff out. If I remember correctly, they said to do it pretty slow. Now, all we have to do is pull this all the way up. See if we got any more air coming out of here. I don't see any air bubbles. So we'll set our spring back in. And then put our cap back on. And that's all there is to it. Alright, so now our boot, our new boots, Polysport, I think they were about 15 bucks on eBay. Nice and fresh. They don't have the clamps like the originals, but a zip tie will work just as well.
So I'm not worried about it. So just slide them over. And then it bottoms out when it's finished. Put our zip tie on. And then you'll probably notice a mark from where the old one was. So that's where I'm going to go up to. Looks like it's about where it should be.